I'm here today to answer the age-old question. Where exactly do you bury your son at when he's murdered several people? Lawrence Michael Hensley was born on April 14th, 1969. He was born in Sydney, Ohio, which is not very far from where I'm currently located at right now, about 5 miles down that highway over the tree line. Now, I don't know much about Lawrence's upbringing, but the story that I'm about to tell you, we're going to quickly realize that this person was deeply disturbed. I mean, for one thing, he was a practicing Satanist. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Satanists, because usually Satanists are good people, if you believe it or not. If you get away from the religion, if you talk to a Satanist, they're a lot less likely to be involved in criminality than your everyday average normal person. You might disagree with them worshiping Satan, but to each their own, I would say. So this guy, Lawrence Michael Hensley, was a practicing devil worshiper. And one of his friends said that when they were leaving his job, he had pulled over because he had seen an animal, roadkill, that was dead over on the side of the road. So he decided to do his own little dissection and removed all of the animal's organs because he wanted to take it home because he thought it was really, really cool. Yeah. Criminal record. We got a criminal record. This guy was arrested in 1993 for some form or another of theft. And he was arrested a few times. This guy couldn't stop exposing himself to people. He had to arrest. So this guy is a devil worshiper and a pervert, a sexual deviant, a creep. Right? This guy has issues, to say the least. Now, this is the part of the story where it gets quite a bit murky at best. Anything that you read about this case online is going to be in a newspaper format. So Lawrence lived over on Queen Street down in Sydney, and he had a next door neighbor, and a girl lived in that house. She was 16 years of age. Her name was Sherry Kimbler, and Sherry had a cousin. Her name was Tasha Barrett. She was also 16 years of age. So you go to July 8th, 1999. Somebody on Queen Street calls 911. Operator picks up the phone. 911 emergency. He said, yeah, this girl is in my front yard and she's been shot. Okay, and they start asking him about her, where is she shot at, all this, that. Police arrive within less than 3 minutes. This girl got shot twice. Once in the arm and I believe like once in the side or something like that. So she tells the police that Lawrence Hensley shot her and he shot 2 other girls in the house. They go in that house, and in his bedroom are the bodies of Tasha and Sherry. They're both dead. They quickly cordon off the house. It is a crime scene. As they're searching the house, it would be 5 hours before they discovered another body. It was the body of 14-year-old Amy Mikesell. She had been stabbed to death. The reason why they didn't find her body right away is because she was in the basement, and it appeared that he had hid the body in some kind of a cabinet or a cupboard, some kind of crawl space, something along those lines. So immediately the police, they pull out an APB for this guy, Lawrence Hensley, and Lawrence is traveling with his wife, Julie. Now, they don't know this at the time, but Julie doesn't know what the hell is going on. She has no clue that her husband of only 2 months has just killed 3 people. And also what she doesn't know is that there was a 4th person that was also murdered, because after murdering those girls, he drives about 3 miles up the road to 37-year-old Brett Wildermuff's house and shoots him and kills him. This guy, Brett, was, I guess you can call him a counselor for Lawrence. Lawrence had been going to this church over in town, and Brett was kind of like, I don't want to say maybe that he was his counselor, but he would help him with his mental issues. And him wanting to no longer be a Satanist, him wanting to be saved and go to church and all that stuff, it's really unclear exactly why he killed this person. So we have 4 dead people in Sydney, Ohio, and now we have a manhunt. Now this is going on for the better part of 5 days. Now it is believed that he had left town and quite possibly had traveled to Georgia. There were signs of him in Kentucky because they've seen an ATM card that he used down there. So for 5 days, there's a manhunt. Everybody's looking for this guy. One of the reasons probably why he got away for so long is because he had changed his license plates on his car. So after 5 days, all of a sudden, a 911 call comes from a gas station in Sydney. This guy just showed up, and now he's taking hostages. So I want to say he had like 3 people held hostage at that gas station. So eventually, they call in the SWAT team. They call in crisis negotiators from other parts of the area, and it turned into a 2 or 3 hour standoff until he finally surrendered. So this guy is arrested, and he's charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder for him holding the hostages, and he's charged with 3 counts of kidnapping. So to avoid the death penalty, and basically the prosecutors probably knowing that this guy was mentally disturbed, he ended up pleading guilty and getting 4 life sentences in lieu of not getting the death penalty. One of his bosses at work, he did hold down a job, and he said, you're shocked when you hear that somebody, one of your employees has did something so terrible as to kill 4 people. He said that this guy he would call him a good employee. He wasn't on his radar. As an employee, that's what you want to be. You don't want to be on somebody's radar where, you're showing up to work late, you're doing an unsatisfactory job, so forth and so on. But for the most part, he said that this guy was a good worker. However, another co-worker of his basically just summed him up in one word: weird. Just weird. And so in 2000 and whatever, he just takes the deal. Probably, I think it's March of 2000, he takes the deal, and he's sentenced to life in prison. Now, the story doesn't quite end there because, well, Lawrence still has some killing to do. All because he's incarcerated in prison doesn't mean that he's incapable of killing. So on September 20th of 2012, his cellmate, 24-year-old Brad Hamlin, is in his cell unresponsive. And the reason why he's unresponsive is because Lawrence tried to kill him and successfully did, because Brad would die from his injuries. He was strangled to death 2 days later in the hospital. So this guy is given yet another life sentence for that murder. So this is the grave of the murderous Lawrence Michael Hensley. And he did have a kid. And so where do you bury your murderous son? Will you bury him next to yourself, the parents? And these are his parents, Lawrence and Martha. So to wrap up this story, basically, there's no rhyme or reason why he killed anybody. This was, I hate using the term senseless killings because it's just overused, but it was just, there's theories about Lawrence possibly messing around with those girls at a sex way, but there's no proof of that. They were making a possible theory that he was paying them to watch him do whatever. I really, something creepy, obviously. I mean, what are two 16-year-old girls doing in your house? So anyways, that pretty much wraps up the story of the murderous Satanist, Lawrence Michael Hensley. Why he did this at court, he didn't give an answer. Nothing. Said no reason. That's it. That's it.